The context that we're trying to speak about is what should be the ideal conduct and behavior of a Muslim man with himself and with different kind of people. I mean, with your background and your experiences, Brother Hussein, how do you feel about this?
I think when I speak to young men and they come to me and they tell me, I don't know what to do with my life, I'm confused, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know. And so I look at them sometimes and I really want to say, like, where's your strength? As in, the word fata in Arabic, usually when we know fata, like la fata illa Ali. Fata, we translate that as youth or young man, right? But so we say there's no young man, except, and I always found that quite peculiar. But when I realized that fata actually, before pre-Islamic times, fata meant like young warrior. That's what it meant. And to be a fata was to be someone of strength and had certain qualities. And it manifests what we call futuwa, right? It's type of chivalry. And the Fityan, they had their own order. It's like knights, like legendary knights, the Fityan, right? Now, this futuwa in Arabian literature, the man who epitomized futuwa was Imam Ali alayhi salam. So he was that young man, the young warrior in Badr, in Uhud, in Khandaq, in Khaybar. He's always that man with that sword.
But he was nurtured that way, wasn't he?
He was a humble man, so he wasn't a man that would go on massacres. He would, when he was angered by the man who spat at him, he left him. And he walked around until he calmed down, right? He was a disciplined young warrior, not a savage. He had an order by which he went by, an order to the self, and it manifested in and out. And he was a poet, and he was a worker, and he was, he dug wells, and he would sell dates with his friend, and he would speak to the people, and he would teach in the mosque, and he manifested all these roles. But that futuwa, he's the epitome of it. You can't escape that. If you were a Christian researcher or anthropologist or whatever you want, a historian, you can't escape the futuwa in Arabia and Imam Ali alayhi salam's connection to it. And the young men, I think you're the Shia of Ali. Your leader, your Imam is this epitome of futuwa. Where's your futuwa manifested? Where is it going?
But don't you think that's an issue of them having not been nurtured in the right way?
That's fine. If it's not, look, the reasons behind it are fine, but let's find the solutions. Like, be a lion. Be a lion. Go out there, get it. Don't always be confused. Don't always be like, I don't know what to do, I'm not feeling it. Go out and get it. Why are you scared?
What if the brothers have like so much insecurities within them and they have this
Well, let's go find out what they are. And everyone has different insecurities. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different nature, as we said before. Sit down. Let's discuss this. Let's go towards highlight the problem. You can never find the cure to a disease if you don't know what the disease is. So let's find out what is the problem. When you know the problem, you know how to solve this.
So I'm just catching up on my Arabic right now.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
Fatuwa. Sorry, I can't even say it properly.
Yeah.
It means strength. Am I defining it correctly?
It's like chivalry.
Okay.
Chivalry.
Right, and it makes a lot of sense what Brother Hussein is saying, that when somebody does come to you and they're just, not sure of themselves and who they are, their identity, you kind of tell them to dig deep inside and find out what you're good at and what your strengths are. And that's what I gather. And obviously when you have a role model such as Imam Ali,
that's it, Imam Ali. Go to Imam Ali.
Yeah, exactly.
Go to Imam Ali. You want to know what the Islamic ideal is for a man? Go to Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Yeah.
And
he embodies strength.
Right, he's tender, but when he has to be aggressive, he's aggressive, and he cries through the night like a baby. But he's a lion in the Maidan, in the battlefield, in the day.
Yeah.
So, you have to manifest that on the battlefield during the day, because when Islam is under siege, you be a lion, and you have to remember the lion is he plans the hunt before he goes towards the gazelle, right? So it's a process. So we have to understand that it's all a process, and we're growing into this hunt. But this is what I like to bring this manlyhood out of us, this aggressiveness that we will have inside us that's healthy. It's healthy to come out. Our ancestors, our ancestors would go. They were, they were hunter-gatherers, right? we don't have that in our lives. They would go and they would hunt and they would bring the animals back to the tribe. We don't have that. We go to work, we sit in an office and we bend down and we type.
I know that feeling.
And that's and you know that's a problem for us because we're not manifesting what is inside us. Our ancestors did and we don't. So then of course you're going to find out all these weird problems that we go through because our attributes, our very attributes, are not being manifested in our lives. So that's why I like it. As I say, go to the gym, only because your body can emulate a bit of what it's supposed to do. So, and it's not all biceps, like it's squats and it's deadlifts and it's pull-ups, because you wanna be able to control your body, because that's what they would do back in the day when they would pick up the rocks and they weren't doing bicep curls with stones. They had strong bodies and they were strong people and they had strong personalities, and they would go and get what they needed. Whereas now, maybe in a more privileged generation, we're just sitting around, we don't know what we want, we don't even think about it, and then we end up at 20, 25 years old. And look, it's fine when you don't know what to do and you're searching for what to do, but to have this in our tradition, it's right at our fingertips and it's right there. And in the wisdom of the Ahlul Bayt, it's right there that shows you the way in which you're supposed to go and in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants of you on this earth. And of course, it's much more vast than this. But
you mentioned that we're more privileged. What do you mean by that? As in, there's a lot of people who would argue that I've had a very tough upbringing. What would you?
As in, you can just make a delivery right now. Excuse me, can I have some pizza? And you get some food at your door. You don't have to think about where am I getting my next meal from. You don't have to go out there and search for a day or two. You don't have to travel miles, to get water. Just watch. Right now, you can. It's so easy. It's a Human Planet. Watch a documentary on the humans in the world and different civilizations and the way they're living, and you will understand how privileged you are.
100%. I think anyone who's down needs to come to Brother Hussein first for one of his motivational speeches like he just gave. I mean, if I was in such a state right now, I'd love to have a brother like that to just kind of talk to me at the very least.
He's got a line in front of us.
And he's got in front of us.
You know what? It's this thing. It's not even me. When I was in house, I remember I would go through such difficult times. And I'm in this room and my classroom just across the hall, and I'm always in this one place. I'm just reading books. And my loved ones are far away, and I don't have much money, and it gets tough.
I know.
Every day they say it gets tough. But you know what? My roommate, he would always tell me, we never break. On the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you must never break. And that always stuck with me. Like, I always tell myself, I'll never break, because the enemies won't break. I can't break. I will not accept it. When I die, I die. This is what, 60, 70, 80 years, if that. No, I will not break. And the brothers, we can't break. And we have to have that strength. We have to believe in ourselves, and we have to be our own motivations and our own inspirations as well. Like I inspire me and I motivate me, and that's fine. Let's be strong about it.
That's a great skill to have.
And knowledge is power. Having knowledge is power. And going to the gym, body, is very important on the path as well. But the most important above all of that is the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when you feel that infinity is with you, then you don't care about anything else. That's why Fir'aun, that's why he feared La ilaha illallah. Because La ilaha illallah meant, you are not my God. And if Fir'aun is no longer the God, he's fearing La ilaha illallah. A man of God is what he fears. Even if the man's a skinny man, or a man who had no strength, but he had a heart like the heart of Imam Ali alayhi salam, for example, then you fear no man, and you have that belief in the one God, then you will never break, no matter what Fir'aun is in your way, or any other manifestation of Fir'aun in the world that we're living in. Right? So this is something that we have to try to gravitate towards, inshallah.
Definitely. So there seems to be this reoccurring theme of your relationship with Allah. What does that mean, and how does it help someone? What is the reality of that?
If you look at the narrations, like كَبُرَ الْخَالِقُ فِي أَعْيُنِهِمْ صَغُرَ مَا دُونَهُ فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ. Right? So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala became greater in their eyes, everything else becomes small. When you have that belief, you're only going to be as great as your Lord is. Right? And if your Lord, again, is someone like Pharaoh, you can only be as great as Pharaoh is, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is infinite. He's in the ghaib, the unseen. And this is very wise, because that means you can never get to a place where you actually reach Allah.
Where you can limit him.
You can't go and say, I reach Allah. Yeah. But what does that mean though? There's no limits with him. That means there's no limits in my progress. Because I'm going towards my Lord, and I can never get there And I know that that causes a type of suffering because, you know, you have that, you grow in love with your Lord and you want to be with Him, but that's good for you because you're going to keep growing, and that shows the capacity of the human being in his potential, that infinite potential.
Yeah.
So look how far
Yeah.
we can go. If someone believes in that, then of course they're going to manifest that strength in their life. Like Imam Ali alayhi salam said, لو لقيتهم ملء الأرض ما بليت ولا توحشت. If I found them filling the entire earth, I will not care or feel scared, because I have infinity with me. And it's just normal mathematics. Like, what's 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 10 million to infinity? It's nothing.
That's nothing.
Right? And if you even try to contemplate infinity, you go mad. Like, we have you know, mathematicians that really, they end up in straitjackets when they try to tackle this problem, because you can't contemplate the essence of God. You can't. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling you towards Him. How can you not, if you sincerely grow towards Him, how can you fear anything else? How can you, of course you're going to manifest these strengths. Of course you're
But
going to...
is there a step one that, generally speaking, that the brothers can start with, saying that this, regardless of who I am, what I'm doing in my life, this is the first thing I need to do to strengthen my relationship with Allah? Not on a superficial level of just, you know, practicing the rituals, but understanding myself more, understanding Allah more. Is it just about picking up a book? What are the different ways?
In terms of spirituality, I would say, right? I mean, you have to have some sort of action and amal to help you gain that spiritual level or enhance that spiritual level. For example, salat, fasting. You know, these are there so that you can go closer or get closer to Allah.
Yeah.
So, like you said, you're kind of saying you're against action. I don't know if you are, but that's how.
Oh no.
I see it. But you have to have some sort of.
It's more of a. Is it just relying on the ritual side, or is it? How do I get a better understanding of what I'm doing?
Incorporating a contemplative lifestyle, a contemplative part of the day into your lifestyle is very important. So, we live very busy lives, but if you wake up just 15-20 minutes earlier than you usually do, and you sit and you think, and that's your ghar hira, that's your cave. That's when everyone's asleep, and you sit and you contemplate and you think, right? You start to bring meaning into what you're living, and especially if you start contemplating on your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before everything else. Just sit down and contemplate and think. You know, sometimes the answers are inside us. It's not going to be in a book or someone's going to tell you it. You already know, but you're not even talking to yourself. You're not thinking. One of the greatest scholars, they asked him, how did you reach your stage? He said, some studying and a lot of thinking, right? And that thinking is very important. We don't even think much. And I know it's
we
ridiculous.
don't have time.
It's ridiculous to say,
It's
right?
a robotic life.
But that's why I'm saying wake up a bit earlier. So Salat al-Layl is so important in that aspect that you wake up and it's still dark outside, the birds are singing, everyone's asleep, there's not much light, and you sit down and you speak to your Lord. But when you finish and you're waiting for Fajr, you sit and you think, right? And you think about your life, you think about your journey towards Allah, you think about the good things you're doing and the bad things you're doing, you highlight these and you pray, and you started your day before anything else. You start your day in blessing, and that's going to be with you for the rest of your day until you sleep. And if we can incorporate that and live that slowly, that's the number one thing. So then you have that, again, taking advantage of your body, and again, the mind and the path of knowledge, and manifesting those attributes that are inside us that our ancestors used to manifest, and looking always towards that amazing figure and leader that we have, that we take we don't take advantage of, that we have that.
We take it for granted, don't
yes, we take it for granted. And
definitely, yeah.
You know,
guys, we've gone deep, but that's all we have time for today. Until next time.